Hey everybody, and welcome to Milkshake's monthly Facebook Live. I'm really excited. I have with me the beautiful Cara Lee.
Hi everybody.
I called her Cara Benson before, but you know
me.
what? Cara's a carrot to me, but you're beautiful. Okay. We're really excited because, all these Facebook Lives enable us to really reach out to each and every one of you. So I'm really encouraging everybody out there to ask as many questions as you possibly can. Give us all the high fives you want. But I think it's a learning experience from what we're talking about. And we're really excited. I know Cara is. Cara is like amazing when it comes to kind of retoning hair and reviving it. And when we just launched out our color whipped creams, it kind of took us to the next level. I think there are 7 different shades, right?
Yep.
That will enable us to really focus on the tonality of the color that we are doing within the salon. And something that your guests can take home and maintain the beautiful colors that you've done. I know that we've come up with some really cool, funky ways to play with it. Mm-hmm. But I think most importantly, Cara, I think it's important that we let everybody know that they are tonal-based colors that would be applied to an existing color.
Absolutely. So basically what you're going to want to do is give your client this to take home to refresh their color, to maintain it, or even if they're just trying to have a little extra vibrancy when they're going out for the night. So we've got a bunch of different ways that we can show you how to use it today.
And some exciting ways. We were just playing a little bit earlier on how possibly, Cara and I were talking, how do we entice somebody and maybe getting a little bit of a fashionable shade into their hair? There's different ways to build a ticket. And I think in this Facebook Live, we're going to share the most common use for color whipped cream, but I think most importantly, we're going to allow you to step outside the box. So I'm really, really excited. I think it's really, really important. We have a beautiful model that has already been colored. Mm-hmm. So we're going to utilize her. I think we're going to bring in another model and kind of just enhance her color as well, and then come up with some fun ideas, girl.
Holler.
All right. So, go.
So today we have our beautiful model that you all might notice is our lovely Dolly. She's got our beautiful vibrant red hair color here. Now what's going on is she's gotten a little bit dull over time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the light red to kind of pigment her hair a little bit, give it extra shine back in. So the nice thing is that Dolly here has fresh, clean hair. It's been air dried. We just combed it through. Normally she's got these nice, beautiful, bouncy curls. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the light red and I'm going to go section by section just to really make sure that I'm not missing anything around her whole head, and then she'll be left with a nice, vibrant, bouncy, curly red hair again. So.
And I think it's important, Cara, we were talking earlier about when, our guests come into salons and they get color done and they possibly are, out everyday abuse, environmental abuse, blow drying abuse. But they haven't had that moment to get in to get their color done, but they need it refreshed. We're not looking to touch up any of the regrowth area, and I think there's some key things that are important for us to share with everybody, like great coverage. We're not talking about great coverage. We're not talking about refreshing the regrowth area. We still want to preserve those dollars within the salon with the guests because they need to come in for a touch-up. But this is most importantly the ends of the hair, the mid-shaft of the hair, and to go back in there and to revitalize the color. Beautiful color that Cara done a while ago. How long ago did you have your color done last, Dolly?
About 3 weeks.
For 3 weeks. She'd be due to come in for another color application, correct? But yet, she might not have that time. She needs to extend it that extra week, and they want to maintain their color at home. So this is a great way or a great technique that they can do at home. Not that we're doing in the salon, right?
Right, exactly. So what I want to show you today also is how easy it can be for your guests. So something really important is to educate them and show them how to use it properly. We don't want to use too much product. A little goes a long way. And also, again, as Gerard mentioned, we're not retouching any of her base color here. We're just going to refresh this, and the nice important part about this too is that it's super conditioning for the hair, so the ends that might be a little lackluster from the summer or being dried out, as he mentioned, from heat damage and all that kind of stuff, it's going to help with that as well. So it's kind of multi-beneficial here, so it's nice to be able to go through and kind of have multiple services at once, especially because, as we mentioned earlier, it's going to be nice for your clients to elongate that color in between. So
we have a question from Paige.
Paige. Hi, Paige.
She's saying about the clients that stress out as soon as their grays start showing. Are these whips something that could be applied to the regrowth at home until they make their next appointment, which is sort of what you touched on, but...
Right. So here's the deal, Paige. We all know that when our guests start to see grays, they start to freak out. And they know that they want to come back in and they need to get a color touch-up, but they need to prolong it. We have to keep them in line with what color whipped creams are actually going to do. They are actually a tone-on-tone based whipped cream that is going to allow us to go in there and refreshen the existing color they have. Now, we all have to take into consideration, and this is something that you and I were talking about earlier, Cara, porosity and condition of hair.
Right.
And we're going to touch base on that as well. So if the porosity of the condition of the hair may be a little bit dry, you may get a little bit of a staining effect. But absolutely not are they to be used for color touch-up or gray touch-up. They're to be utilized to refresh the color, revive the color, condition the hair, but still keep that beautiful red on tone. So I hope I answered that for you.
Brilliant. And we have another question.
Yep.
And I know this is right. You know, Gerard loves the questions.
I love the questions. Keep them coming.
So we have a question from Val. She said, do you need to use it every time after a shampoo as soon as the color starts to wash out, or does it refresh for a few washes?
It depends. Everything is going to depend on how often they shampoo their hair, number one. Number two, the porosity and condition of the hair. Keep that in mind. I do recommend, it's like a leave-in treatment for the hair. It's a leave-in conditioner. It just has some tonal value. So yes, you will not have to worry about overusing it. You can use it every time the client or the guest shampoos their hair. Or if you notice the porosity of the hair is a little bit more on the drier side, it will tend to hold it a little bit longer. But I think it's best to be utilized every time prior to blow drying the hair. To get the best result, of course. So, why don't we actually see the application of it? Kara's going to take you through that. And then I think it's important, Kara, that we take them over and show them the different shades that we do have. Yes. Talk about some key ingredients.
All right, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my nice little mister here and I'm going to brush through Dolly's hair. I want to make sure she's got no knots and tangles. And I'm going to evenly distribute some moisture throughout her hair. So what I'm going to do is take my mister here, protect her beautiful face, and I'm going to make sure that this is nice and damp. Now remember, this is on clean hair. This was air dried earlier. So I'm just evenly distributing this mist right here just to make her hair damp. I'm not looking to have anything soaking wet. I just want to have nice and even coverage because when we apply this moisture, this is going to help to even out her porosity slightly the way that it will accept it, which is why we don't want to have any dry patches.
I think that's a great point, Kara. You know, I think you hit the nail on the head when you turn around and say that you don't want to have any dry patches. It's like peaks and valleys, I always say. You know, you want to make sure that the porosity of the hair is nice and even from scalp to end. And this way, when you apply your product, that you will get even distribution and even saturation of the product. So I think that's really important. Good key point. Love it.
Thank you. So now that I have her hair nice and damp, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my gloves on. Now the only reason I'm putting gloves on right now is because I've been outside a lot this summer. My hands are a little dry. So normally these don't tend to stain your skin. I just have this because
you don't want to mess up your manicure.
I don't want to ruin my manicure. Right? He called me out on it. It's true. So you can give that heads up to your guests at home who might take this. However, generally speaking, you're not worrying about like heavy staining, so it's not something that you particularly are worried about in your bathroom sink if you happen to, you know, be washing it off your hands or something. So that's nice. That's one of the biggest differences between the direct color. This is in a mousse. So that being said, we have a little bit less pigment. All right, so what I just did here was I have my light red. It's got a beautiful scent of strawberry. When you first open this bottle, there's a little tiny cap right here that you have to lift up. So when you get it, if you think that it's broken because you push down on it, it's not. You just have to release that. It's almost like a safety guard. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna section Dolly's hair. Now again, I'm doing this to show you how we tend to use it in the salon, keep it nice and professional. For your guests at home, you can just show them a nice little rundown of the easiest way to distribute this color throughout their hair, this colored mousse.
So, Cara, just before you go any further, another good question from Nina. And for Gerard as well. Can we use at the shampoo bowl to tone or colour balance highlights on towel-dried hair?
You want to take it? Or you want to take it?
It's a great question.
It is a fantastic question, and we talked about this earlier. the can is the big captive words, big active word. Can we do this? Can we do that with this? The product is designated and recommended to revitalize color, refreshing color, and I think that's the most important thing. If you are looking for any toning properties, I think it's important to realize that within the milkshake line, we do have our tone controllers, we do have direct, and we do have smoothies, as well as utilizing some of the pigments at the same time. Those would be the primary three different departments that I would go to whenever considering toning hair. However, if you are looking to add more tone to hair, not looking to counteract, keep in mind, these do tend to wash out of the hair. So why would you want to do a beautiful blonding and then tone the hair? And we are going to take you a little bit further into the presentation and show you what we've been doing with some blonde swatches to create tone effects. But I have to kind of reiterate that, and it's safe to say that we do not recommend this as a toning method. This is only to be utilized to enhance existing color and to possibly do some fashionable shades, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Sure.
Is that good, Nina?
Nina.
Here you go.
Oh, you want me to section
Yes.
on the human?
Clip, yes. So what I'm taking right now, again, I'm taking my colored whipped cream in the light red. I really, really, really wish that you could smell this right now, but the moment that you get your hands on it, I hope that you get to play with them and really give that sensorial experience to your guest. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a little bit of this colored whipped cream. I'm emulsifying it from her base to the ends. Now, as Gerard mentioned earlier, this is really something for the mid-lengths and ends. There's no problem if you have it on their scalp whatsoever. It's not going to touch that base color. You can see she's got slight regrowth right there. Hopefully you can tell in the camera. But the most important part is to color, or to put this over the previously colored hair. So what I'm doing is, again, evenly distributing this, and I'm making sure that it's all nice and saturated, and then I'm dropping this section out. Now, again, remember, we're going to want to let this air dry, and this is not getting rinsed out, so if you happen to put a lot on that one section, it will be kind of tough to dry. So again, that even distribution is super important. Thank you.
Okay. Another question from Val. How would we sell this as an add-on service in the salon?
So in a little bit, what we'll do is we're going to show you that we've made these really cool boards. And the cool thing about it is that we can have creative color placement with this. So for example, I'm blonde. When I first started using these on my guests and I had a little bit of color mixed up, as us hairstylists do, we experiment. So I put a couple of the pieces of other colored whipped creams into my hair, my blonde hair, to see what kind of tones I would have. And since they usually wash out rather quickly, depending on how often you wash your hair, as Gerard mentioned, and the porosity, it was something fun for me to be able to just play with. So for example, if you have a guest coming in for a blowout service, okay, and they're going to a fun themed party, for example, we've got Halloween coming up, if somebody's got a cool costume and they're getting their hairstyle, you know, prior to this party, what you can do is you can offer to your guests to have a couple of these pieces placed into their hair, or something that they couldn't normally do. So that being said, it's going to be nice to give them the option to have a color that they don't have to necessarily maintain, and it gives you the creativity as their stylist to show them what these colors can do. Now, if they had red hair or brunette, or if they're blonde, whatever it might be, and we do have those colors, that's going to maintain. However, if they do have blonde hair or some later pieces, that's when you can start getting really creative with these reds and violets to show them just a little fun add-on service.
You know, here's another thing, and I think it's for all of us. There's two viewers that we have presently watching us, Karen. I think it's important to focus on both. So those of us who are stylists and we want to create more service dollars within our salon, and we want to educate our guests that come in, I think it's really, really important for us to educate them with any application of any product. I'm just going to twist that there for you, and this way you can just grab that one. So like I said, how do we create an experience or service in the salon? Well, we've kind of launched them in our salon, and we talked about the experience of refreshing their color, and we've called it a refreshing blow dry. So when they come in, if they're coming in for a smoothing blow dry or a curly blow dry or just a simple style, what about the client or the guest that walks through the doors of your salon, that they come in, they have time for blowout, and then they're ready to go, but their color's a little dull. It needs to be refreshed. So what we've done is, we do know that these products do retail in the salon for $16.95, so you would retail this to your guests, they could take it home. But what about recreating a refreshing blow dry of the product. And what you would do is, after you've shampooed them, cleanse their hair, you want to just gently towel dry them, so just take all the moisture out of the hair. And before you start blow drying the hair, you want to section the hair out and apply it the exact same way as Kara has been applying it. Clip that little piece that Kara told you earlier so that we can just open that up, all right, because it's sealed. Take the can and start applying it to our guests' hair right there at our stations. Comb it through the hair and then proceed with your blow dry. Not only are you going to create a beautiful style for them, so whatever you are charging for your blow dry, you can add on the price point of the product to your service ticket and then give them the product to take home to maintain it. So we've touched our retail business. We've serviced them within the salon by increasing the blow dry service that we can offer, the experience. But most importantly, we've also given your guests a product that they can take home with them to maintain the beautiful vibrancy of their color. So I think that there's several ways. If they like it, they can come back in. It's always sitting in our shelves, full display, and they could repurchase the product. So if we want to create an in-salon experience, we would use it prior to styling the hair or blow drying their hair. And if we wanted to retail it to them on a later basis, they can come back in and purchase it again. So we are hitting two targets.
So we have Erica making a point, which she'd like to get confirmed, Gerard, is, oh, cool, so we don't have to rinse this out.
Absolutely. And that's a great point, Erica. Thanks for bringing that up. These products, the whipped cream, once you apply it to the hair, you need to apply it on pre-shampooed hair, damp hair, and leave it in. You just go in and blow dry the hair. Unlike some of us that are familiar with our whipped cream, the original whipped cream, if you remember, we want to create a larger ticket service in the salon, a more vibrancy and color deposit into the hair, or possibly introduce something to a guest that comes into your salon by utilizing direct. We still create the cocktails that will give more potency to your color that gets applied to the hair. This is something that is just going to maintain their tone at home, does not get rinsed out. However, when you use the original whipped cream with your directs, at that moment, you would then apply this at the shampoo bowl, allow that to time for a few minutes, and then rinse that out. This way you get any residue of the direct dyes off the hair.
Cool.
Good point, Erica, thanks.
Another good question coming in.
I love these.
Loving all the questions.
Yeah.
That's Gerardo. He's always saying, come on, people, give us the
Give
questions.
us the questions. I don't want to know about how thin I look.
And any difficult questions we'll give to Cara, of course, yeah. Again, from Paige, she says, can you mix the colours, say for someone who is a direct client?
If you're talking about intermixing the pre-packaged whipped cream, I would stay tone to tone. So if you're utilizing the reds, you're utilizing the reds. When you think about that for a minute, was Erica? Who asked this question?
Erica Herrick.
So when you think about that for a moment, you don't want the tones to start to counteract each other. So if you were going to mix a warm brown, possibly add a little red into it, you have to be really, really careful with that. They were designed to be utilized independently and straight from the can.
Good. Another question. This looks like this may be from the UK. Stacey Chambers. Can you get these products in the UK?
You sure can. I think one of our ambassadors out in the UK did a beautiful tutorial on it. Miss Shelley Pimscott, she did it with the beautiful blondes and she added some of the pink tones to it. So they are available globally. You just need to reach out to your local distributor in that area.
Good. And Michelle McCown says, using in my salon in the UK. So there you go, Stacey, there's your answer. So Gerard, let's, while Cara's continuing her application, shall we pan across behind where you are and let's have the reveal.
All right,
Okay.
so
Cara will be back in a moment.
Sounds good to me.
So I think it's really exciting, and you can see here on the table, Brian and I kind of created 7 different sorbets for you. Something that you might want to take. Oh, look, a little bit of chocolate here. Let me grab chocolate and strawberries. It's like a buffet in the salon. But as you can see, we have 7 different shades presently in the line. You see that there is a violet tone, and I think it's really important for us to talk about the violet. Because what's real, let me grab it from right over here. So What's really important to realize about the violet, you see that it comes into the container here. It's very purple in tone. Violet was designed strictly for more of your violet brown tones, your colors that have a little bit more of that red violet into the hair, that you want to maintain the tone of that color. This in no way has been designed to counteract any type of yellow or brassiness from the hair. If you apply this on a blonde hair, you will get purple. And we're going to show you that in a few minutes on how we've taken the violet to create some much more fashionable shades. But most importantly, it was designated and designed to be utilized on your much more cooler redheads, your more red violet, your more mahogany colors.
Awesome.
We have our light red, like Kara was talking about. Next to that, if you just pan over, you're going to see we have our copper, our warm brown, our golds, our cool brown, and a beautiful beige. We can't forget our beige blondes. And if you notice, which I think is great, Dahlia prepared this for us earlier, you're going to see all cool key ingredients that are placed within our original whipped cream. Things like papaya, strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, cocoa, coconut, lemon. Most importantly, milk and Integrity 41. The key ingredients that make up the importance of what this color is all about and what the toning effects can possibly give. So we utilize fruit extracts, Integrity 41, honey, and most importantly, the number one key ingredient, milk proteins in the hair. And we all know what these key ingredients are going to enable us to do, right? They're going to help us to re-strengthen the hair. They're going to create vibrancy to the hair, some toning effects to the hair, and most importantly, keep that hair beautiful, soothing, sweet, beautiful color.
Thank you, Gerard. And just before we go any further, we have a special guest just tuned in, Maurizio Velotti.
Maurizio! Ciao! We just spent a beautiful weekend out in Italy, down by Lake Maggiore, right?
Maggiore.
Maggiore, I always have to pronounce that right. And Maurizio was there, did a great job. Glad you tuned in, Maurizio. We want to bring in one more model. Oh, I'm trying to eat the chocolate that I should.
I know what you like. I'll pan away. Yeah.
We're going to bring in one more model and talk a little bit about common things that happen every day within our salons. Guests that come in that have a natural brown color to the hair, but need a little bit more oomph, a little bit more vibrancy. So one of our very own, Miss Stephanie, beautiful model, has gorgeous hair. She has slight inconsistency in her colors. If you look, she has some beautiful natural tones in there. But when she gets to the ends of the hair, the ends become a little bit more drier, a little bit more light in color. And this is primarily due to thermal abuse or due to environmental abuse. Blow dryers, flat irons, curling irons, wands, things like that. So how can we take somebody who has beautiful hair, a beautiful model, and kind of enhance that? And I think Kara brought it up great early, and I'm going to let her tell you about that. And by utilizing some of the cool tones or some of the warm tones, or possibly utilizing both of them to create that.
Yep. So what we want to do is we want to revitalize her hair a little bit. So what happens is exactly as Gerard mentioned, you just have environmental damage. We all get it one way or another. So this is a really nice way to send your client home with a product of something that's really going to help them out. We've all had the guests who, mention their colors fading or it feels a little bit dull. So a way to avoid any of this happening is, one, they can use Milkshake Color Care Shampoo and Conditioner, which Stephanie does, but if we had a guest who did not, and we had seen them have dull color throughout time and whatnot, we could use these nice products right here. They have the warm brunette and the cold brunette colors. This is going to be something super helpful to help their hair hold on to color better as well. For example, like I mentioned, if a client goes on vacation and, they have all different, colors by the time that they come back in their hair, the nice thing is that this is going to help revitalize that color. So again, Stephanie's got really nice healthy hair here, so it's going to be really nice to enhance this even a little bit further. So the fun thing about it is that I'm going to do the same thing as I did with Dolly. I'm going to dampen her hair down just a little bit. And I'm going to show you again with the same thing with this cold brunette and the warm brunette. Now the nice thing with this is that this can go based off of different tones that somebody might have in their hair. So if Stephanie preferred a cooler brunette tone, obviously we would reach for the cold brunette. And then if somebody wanted something with a little bit more warmth and undertone, we would go for the warm brunette color.
Kara, I love it. I love the fact that you're utilizing two different brunettes in Stephanie's hair, because when you look at her hair, you can see where she does have, and it's natural, she does have warm tones and she does have cool tones. And I love the idea that you came up with about utilizing both of the colored whipped creams to enhance that natural tone that she presently has in her hair. Great pick, great call.
Okay, team, we have another great question from Kim Bush. Love this one. Can I use this as a rinse for a white-haired client, the beige or the golden blonde, to add some color?
Okay, again, when we talk about utilizing the color whipped creams, we're actually talking about utilizing them to enhance any artificial or natural color that they presently have. So when you talk about white hair or extremely platinum hair, you're talking about sometimes pigment that is not left in the hair. In this case, you may not get the vibrancy that you're looking for. Some colors, depending if you're using cool browns, might tend to be a little bit more mucky. So I wouldn't recommend that if you're looking to utilize that to add a little tone to white hair or anything that is extremely at that platinum level. It's basically entitled to enhance the natural color or the artificial color that you do place into the hair.
Cool.
Exactly. So the nice thing about this is the way that it glides right onto the hair. You can already tell the shine that it begins to add. And just as I mentioned earlier with Dolly's hair, being my model, I'm gonna wanna make sure that everything is evenly dampened and moisturized, just because, again, any pieces that I missed, I'm gonna want to make sure that they're nice and evenly saturated. Because I'm using these two different tones of this brunette here, I'm especially gonna wanna make sure that they're taken on that section that I am applying it to. So you can already start to tell that there's pigment right in that mousse. Now for any of our silver shine users out there, you can tell as soon as that comes out of that bottle as well, that it has a slight hue to it of that nice light violet tone. Now that would be the one that you would use for blonde toning. That's when you're gonna use our silver shine that's specifically meant for blonde or gray hair that's starting to yellow. That will counteract those tones. So again, we're gonna not use our violet from the colored whipped creams, we're gonna use the silver shine from that family.
I mean, I love that, because when you start to look at it, look at that hair right away, it's already absorbing that tone, and you could see where it's going to give you that evenness that Kara was talking about earlier. So we're eliminating the peaks and valleys that sometimes happen to hair from either thermal abuse or from environmental abuse.
Okay, we have another question, team, from our very own Felicia.
Felicia!
Second time she's asked, because it kind of rolled away and I think we were very busy. So apologies, Felicia. Can I mix the colored whipped creams with direct color?
Okay, the color whipped creams were already pre-measured and pre-designed to be utilized alone, Felicia. So if you really do want to utilize any of the direct colors, we talked about that a little bit earlier. Most importantly, just go to your existing whipped cream, the original formula, or possibly your Moisture Plus whipped cream. So these two you would utilize for direct. We do not recommend that you add any more direct to the existing colored whipped creams. Great question though, Felicia.
So as you can tell, I'm going through this pretty quickly as a professional. So once you have your guests who have this at home, you can explain to them exactly as I mentioned earlier. It's okay if it gets toward their scalp and toward their root color. And the nice thing is, all I'm doing right here is just sectioning it and combing it through. So if they happen to miss a couple of spots or so, it's going to evenly emulsify, because once you're done, you can just take that whole section and make sure that it's nice evenly covered, okay?
Good, and we have another question, again, from our very own Tara.
Tara!
Tara Carano.
Kisses.
Connecticut.
Yay, Connecticut's in the house. Can this be used to repigment before applying a target color?
Okay, again, whipped cream Colored whipped creams are designed to add tone to the existing artificial color that they presently have in the hair or their natural color. If we were looking at repigmentizing, okay, this is something that's temporary that will get washed out or rinsed out of the hair, so it's not recommended to repigmentize the hair. If you're looking to repigmentize the hair in any way, shape, or form, we have our smoothies or our direct that you go to. Also, you could also add a little bit of the pigment colors that we have in the little glass vial. So you have 3 other options to choose to repigmentize the hair that it will better suit your needs. So I have to honestly stress out there that no, we do not recommend this to repigmentize the hair.
Excellent. Okay, so shall we leave Cara to carry on for a moment and then show a little surprise?
We should, but I just want to emphasize something, and I love the creativeness that you're doing, Cara, how you're utilizing the 2 different tones that you see right here. You're using both the warm brunette and the cool brunette, and I love the fact how you're doing like section by section and you're putting it on, and it's so creative. And when you think about this, anything that we do as stylists, right, Cara, can be utilized in a technical format or also can be utilized in a much more creative way. And I think you've taken it and brought it to the next level for every stylist out there to be more creative. And I also want to share one thing. Give me a little squirt in there. Cara brought this up earlier. I'll get a little bit more than that. I'm so stingy.
You said little.
But what's really good about this is we talked about it earlier. If the client is at home utilizing it, you can just simply use your hands, not worry about staining, okay? And then just simply go and wipe that off. And you'll notice you don't get any staining effect to it. That is my natural olive tan skin. So I think that's really, really cool to know because Cara's working with 2 shades. She does wear the gloves because she's got a beautiful manicure and I'm still waiting to get mine.
I do have a beautiful manicure.
Cool beans. So let's let you just continue to apply this, and then we are going to do something that's going to be a little bit more fun, even on Cara's hair.
Yes.
And talk about it. But I want to share a little something with you and talk about, everybody's talking about repigmentizing or toning the hair. And I think it's important for us to realize as stylists that we need to underpromise and overdeliver. And I think once you do that, it puts you in a safe zone all the time. And here at Z1 Concept, we have different tools in our arsenal of creativeness that we can create. If you're looking to tone the hair, smoothies, direct, even the pigments. If you're looking to repigmentize the hair, smoothies, direct as well again. Again, another great toning effect, tone controllers, depending on what level you're at. So keep it in mind, color whipped cream is something that you would recommend to your guests to maintain the vibrancy of their existing color at home. Cool beans.
So before we go any further, another special VIP guest has just tuned in. Say hi to Paolo Venzo.
Paolo! ¿Cómo está, Paolo? Paolo is the backbone behind everything that we learn and we know about Z1 Concept and the color. So we appreciate everything that Paolo has done there in Italy and brought back. So it's really, really exciting. So,
awesome.
While you were working on that real quick, you're going to finish it up, and then I want you to join me over because we're going to talk about something new and fun. And we are going to post these photos afterwards because what happens next is each and every one of them, Dolly is off getting blow dried right now. We applied it to her hair. She's having her hair blow dried. And then Stephanie will have her hair blow dried and styled as well. And you're going to notice a beautiful tone to her hair because of the even distribution and the wonderful way that we are utilizing 2 brunettes to create that. So
Paolo says, I love you, my friend.
Oh, we love you, Paolo. We love you. So I want to share a little something to you. Let's go this way first, Brian. Let's talk about...
One more question.
Yep.
Will this increase shine?
This will absolutely... Go ahead. Take it, Karen.
This will absolutely increase shine. Because not only is there that added pigment in there, but as Gerard mentioned, all the wonderful ingredients that are really going to take care and repair the hair, especially with that milk protein in there, restructuring it, it's going to be really helpful, again, against any blow drying or any damage from pulling your hair back and all that kind of stuff that you can get, which can also add to color fading or dulling out. So the pigment in here and also those nice helpful ingredients are really going to give the wow factor to the hair that some people really are missing out on.
And I think too, let's keep in mind, right, Cara, when you think about this, not only are we adding shine to the hair, only are we adding tone to the hair, but we're adding condition to the hair. It's the original whipped cream that we all know and love, just with some tonal families to it. Your coppers, your reds, your warm brunettes, your cool brunettes, beiges, things like that, violets, okay? Those are the important things about it, how we've taken something great and made it magnificent. And I think that's really, really awesome.
Okay, we have another question.
Yes.
Here we
I
go.
love these
Good
questions.
questions today. Excellent. Yeah, this is from Angela. She says, is there a minimum amount of time you want it to sit on the hair?
No time at all. You just want to apply it to the hair, because remember one thing. What is the timing you're leaving it on the hair? You're leaving it until you shampoo it off the next day. You're applying it to the hair, leaving it on, blow drying it right on. So you're not rinsing it off. Timing only comes into factor when you're rinsing a product off. And in our colored whipped creams, you're not rinsing them off.
Right.
Cool. Why don't we show them something exciting? What we were talking about earlier. Okay, awesome. So we're going to let Stephanie sit, and we're going to go have her get blow dried out. You all know that when we kind of enhanced and we talked about the color whipped creams, we did something out in Vegas when we first launched it, and we took this beautiful mannequin, and actually just to show the pigment in it, we kind of colored the mannequin with several different shades. So you have that original blonde that was there, which would be her tone, and then you have your copper, red, violet, warm brown, cool brown, beige, and gold tones. So let's take a moment and talk about that. Talk about what everybody is excited about utilizing this. Remember one thing, that colored whipped creams were designed to put tonal value back into the hair. For your brunettes, your redheads, as we saw earlier. That's what they were designed for. But playing with them, we have come to an area where we have started to experience out. So what Cara and I did earlier is we took our colored whipped creams and decided, what about that non-committed guest that needs something in a hurry? I know that I was explaining to Cara, I do this a lot for photo shoots and events. When I'm on the set and I need to add a little color quickly to somebody's hair, I don't have time to color a weft and then dry it out. So what we've been doing to create more fun in the salon is we've been creating colored whipped creams.
Revealed it yet?
You
Want me
haven't
to
revealed
reveal?
it. I'm pointing to nothing. We have decided to create extensions and color them. So we took our level 9, and we're going to demonstrate one for you. We took our level 9, and level 9 extension, decided, why don't we create something? It was for a photo shoot that Cara and I were doing, and we had to do something very quick and fast. So we took, whether it was on somebody who was a brunette and we wanted to add some colored highlights to the hair, you can take extensions in the salon, if you're doing any extensions, your beautiful violet, some beautiful light red, and the light red comes out great because it almost looks like a pink in the hair when you're putting it on blonde hair. So remember, if you're utilizing it in any way on extensions, the tone is going to be very sorbet in color, very light. You'll get the reflectiveness of it. So without further ado, why don't we show them, because Cara always tells me that she wants a little bit of oomph in her hair. So I told her that I would create something for her, and then we're going to show you how we attach it to the hair. So we can take, what color do you want, Cara?
Surprise me.
You want your little violet?
I do.
All right.
I love this color so much. I've done it on a few of my clients already, and every time they leave my salon, I'm like, all right, soon it'll be my turn, so.
So we're going to do 2, all right? I'm going to put these on real quick, and we're going to show you. We'll use the one that's up there existingly, and then we'll utilize that.
Sure.
Okay? So what's really cool
beginning.
and quick. Let me take the bud. Let me take one that's already open. Okay, so we're starting off with a level 9 extension. And we want to create more services in the salon, correct? All right, so we already know that we have a product that will create beautiful take-home business for your guests, beautiful retail area. So what we've been doing is taking, I'm going to give you that comb, if you could hold that for me. We've been taking the level 9 extensions and then taking, whether it's the violet, whether it's the red, to create some fun pieces for the hair, especially on a photo shoot. And we've been working it through the hair. I'm going to stick that in your little pocket there and work it all the way out to the ends of the hair. Just keep working it, applying that product all the way out, and then taking your comb and just combing that through. So now, when we go to dry this, you're going to see this beautiful tone in the hair. Okay? So, what I recommend, if you want the longevity of that, look at that beautiful tone in that hair. If you want to keep the longevity of that, what we can do is actually, can I have that spray? Okay? I always like to lock things in. If you're working on a photo shoot and you're doing something really, really quick, I don't want this to rinse out a little bit. So what I tend to do is just take a little bit of some spray, whether it be no inhibition or milkshake, whatever you choose to use, and then what this does is it smooths out the hair extension and dries it into the hair. So now, what we're going to do is take these two beautiful pieces, all right, and we're going to sandwich them in Kara's hair. So Kara, why don't you have a seat?
Here we go.
I'm actually going to take this one as well. We'll take this one off here. Okay, I'm going to give you these two pieces. And if I could find a comb right here. So, if you wanted to and added some fun, give it a blade or something to
Watch it.
cut.
I'm just kidding.
All right, so we're going to actually take this section of hair. All right. Okay, let's go. We'll take this one. All right. Real quick and show you, even if it's just a regular blade, yeah. Okay, so we're going to take this, take a small section, we're going to apply that right there. Take another section.
I ripped it off.
Oh, I love an assistant. Work that into the hair so that we can create some beautiful tones to the hair. And I'm just going to take it. Don't even
Okay, I'll focus up here.
And then I'm just going to kind of cut this. And I know Kara's looking at me to make sure that I'm not utilizing her hair when I cut this.
This is nice because for your guests who don't want the maintenance of having a hair color, this is something really nice and fun for them to do without having to maintain it. So this is really...
Look at that. Is that not a fun way? Let me get some loving out there. Is that not a fun way to do something, whether it be on a photo shoot, whether it be on a guest that comes into towards your salon? You have all the tones that you want to create if you are working. And all that simply is utilizing, okay, extensions that you could peel off. all right, and you sandwich them together. So if you were working on fine hair, then you would not sandwich it. You would just do one piece only. But if you were working on coarser hair, so have them ready in your salon between extensions, creating beautiful tones. I think that looks beautiful on Kara's hair. You know what? And she could leave that in the hair. It'll stay there as long as she wants it. If she wants to refreshen it, she has that capability of doing that. So I just gave you the violet hair you always wanted.
Oh, thank you.
And wait a minute, there's a message coming from Kathy Corey, by any chance, saying, "Hey, you look great, Cara." I had to shout that one out. It's your mum.
Love you, Mom.
There you
She
go.
does. So I think, Kara, it's amazing. Let's walk over by the whipped creams and kind of share with them a little bit, again, the different tones that we have. And then kind of just talk a little bit about one thing that you brought up earlier. I'd like you to stress that on the fact about what happens if you were to use the violet in place of the silver shine.
Okay, so I'm actually just going to do this right on my hand so everybody can see. Now again, I'm just going to make sure this cap is open. I'm going to put a little bit of this silver shine whipped cream right on the back of my hand right there. Okay, you can tell it's like a light tone of a hint of violet, almost a lilac because it's so light. Now what I'm going to do, thank you Gerard, is he's going to put the actual violet colored whipped cream on so you can really tell the tonal difference. Now what happens is if you were to put this on blonde, it's going to turn the shade that it is on my hair. I do have the ideal scenario to show that off. That swatch was very similar to my color that I currently have. So when I put the silver shine on my hair, all it does is cool it down, create the appropriate tone, versus this is actually going to give me that fun fantasy color. So you have to be really careful with, you know, depending which one you're going to reach for. However, it's nice to have both options. Just make sure that your guests know that before they pick that up off the shelf. Unless they want to have purple hair, then go for it.
Cool beans.
Yep.
So I think, what are we down to, 2 minutes left, Brian?
Well, a couple of minutes.
Okay, so let's do two things. Let's just kind of closely, definitely reiterate, and then bring Dolly out. Let's reiterate the true purpose of the whipped cream, colored whipped cream. Let's bring this up here. Remember, we've always had our original whipped cream. Okay, the Moisture Plus, the original whipped cream, and the Silver Shine. They have a family of what they are designated for. But now we have opened up Pandora's box.
Yep.
We made it a little bit more stronger by kind of sharing with you some colored whipped creams. And remember, colored whipped creams are not meant to repigmentize the hair. They're not meant to be actually placed on blonde hair. And they are not meant to color any regrowth in the hair or color gray in the hair. Colored whipped creams were meant as a toning effect, to create more toning value to the existing color that they presently have, to enhance the color, whether it be natural or unnatural. Okay, key ingredients, Integrity 41, honey, milk proteins, most importantly, and mostly all those delicious fruits and vegetables that you see that are there. And most importantly, again, cocoa. Yum, yum.
Here it goes.
We have another
Keep
question.
eating.
One more question before we
Reveal Dolly?
get to the closeout. Yeah. Heather is asking, are they all different scents like smoothies?
They are. Great question, Heather. If you're looking at the red, you're talking about strawberries. Looking at the violet, you're seeing some blueberries. In the browns, you have the cocoa, which I've been eating like a little chubby boy. So there you go.
So you'll notice right in our pamphlet right there, next to all of the different tones that we have a bunch of key ingredients right on the side. So it's really nice because you actually can smell these things in each one of the shades, and especially I'm gonna pick favorites here. That light red strawberry is so beautiful, but they all smell so nice. So once you get them, that's the first thing I would do is pop them open and smell them.
Definitely.
Okay.
Look at how beautiful. You know what? Let's emphasize the fact that, let's capture that light into Dolly's hair. You know, we all know that curly hair traps light. And that beautiful application of the light red that Cara did on Dolly's hair really brings it back to life. The curls are a little bit more vivacious. They have more tone to them. Most importantly, like we said, we're not looking to retouch the regrowth area. And then we're going to bring Stephanie out in a photo after our Facebook Live, and you'll see the beautiful browns and the natural highlighting of her color. Great job, Miss
So here we
Carol.
have our new vivacious dolly.
Perfect.
So
Good job. I think that it's really fun. It was a great Facebook Live. I hope everybody out there enjoyed it. Keep in mind that we have our next Facebook Live coming out next month. Be aware, always look at your beauty guide and you'll see the time and the date and exactly what we're going to talk about. And we talked about many things today.
Yep.
And simply coming out of one can, or 7 different cans, I should say, 7 different shades. I think it's amazing. So I think, like they did in the Grecian way, we need to let you take a bite of the strawberry. So we just eaten the light red. We did.
her hair tastes delicious.
It tastes delicious. Kara, I always love doing events with you because I always learn something new. I love that creativeness on how you layer the different whipped creams. What we talked about with placing extensions in the hair to create these beautiful colors. And most importantly, to bring out the vibrancy of reds.
Yep.
Great job, Carol.
Thank you, you too. It's very exciting, and we really appreciate all the questions. Today was such a good question
It
day. That's
was.
so exciting. So
Awesome.
keep the questions coming for next month's Facebook Live, and thank you for staying with us.
We'll see you at the next one.